The term downwinders refers to people who were exposed to radiation as a result of nuclear testing in the United States during the mid-20th century. The tests were carried out by the government and military in various locations, including Nevada, Utah, and New Mexico, and the fallout from these tests spread over a wide area, affecting the health and well-being of countless people. The effects of nuclear testing on downwinders were first recognized in the 1950s, when people living in the areas downwind of the testing sites began reporting an increase in health problems, including cancer, birth defects, and other illnesses. The government initially denied that the tests were harmful, but as more and more people became sick, the evidence became impossible to ignore. In the 1980s, the government finally acknowledged the harm that had been done to downwinders and began offering compensation to those affected. However, the process of obtaining compensation was long and difficult, and many people who were eligible for assistance did not receive it. One of the most infamous incidents of nuclear testing in the United States was the Trinity test, which was carried out in New Mexico in 1945 as part of the Manhattan Project. The test involved the detonation of a nuclear bomb, which produced a massive cloud of radioactive fallout that drifted over a wide area, including the town of Tularosa, New Mexico. Residents of Tularosa and the surrounding area were not informed of the test beforehand, and many of them were outside at the time of the blast. They were exposed to high levels of radiation and suffered a range of health problems, including cancer and other illnesses. Despite the clear evidence of harm, the government initially denied that the test was responsible for the illnesses. In the 1990s, a group of downwinders from Tularosa and the surrounding area came together to form the Tularosa Basin Downwinders Consortium. The group has been advocating for compensation and recognition for the harm done to their community ever since, and in 2019, they were finally successful in getting the government to acknowledge their suffering and offer compensation. The impact of nuclear testing on downwinders is not limited to the United States. The testing carried out by other countries, including the Soviet Union and China, has also had devastating effects on the health and well-being of people living downwind of the testing sites. In many cases, these countries did not acknowledge the harm they had caused and did not offer any compensation or assistance to those affected. The legacy of nuclear testing on downwinders is a tragic one, marked by a lack of transparency and accountability on the part of the government and military. While some compensation has been offered to those affected, many downwinders continue to suffer from the long-term effects of radiation exposure, and their stories serve as a reminder of the need for responsible and ethical decision-making when it comes to matters of national security. In recent years, there has been increased attention paid to the experiences of downwinders and the need for justice and recognition for the harm they have suffered. The Tularosa Basin Downwinders Consortium and other groups like them continue to advocate for compensation and acknowledgement from the government, and their efforts have helped to raise awareness of the lasting impact of nuclear testing on communities around the world. In conclusion, downwinders are people who were exposed to radiation as a result of nuclear testing in the United States during the mid-20th century. The effects of this testing were devastating, leading to an increase in cancer, birth defects, and other illnesses among those living downwind of the testing sites. While the government eventually acknowledged the harm that had been done and offered compensation to those affected, The process of obtaining assistance was difficult, and many people did not receive the help they needed.